Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode. I'm Barbara. This is a Gardener's Journey Homestead where we talk about all things gardening, homestead, cooking from scratch in the kitchen, and a beginner's journey. So I started gardening 2 years ago. This upcoming season will be my third year. So I am still learning the ropes and I just take you along on the journey with me. So if you're all about that, then definitely tune in. Today we're outside and in the high tunnel mostly. It's a beautiful day today. The high is around 58, but the sun is shining. It's not raining. Praise the Lord. So we're glad about that. So we're going to take advantage of these few hours of sunshine and try to get some stuff done in the tunnel. So let's go in the tunnel and let's get to work. Okay, so one of the first things we're going to do is we're actually going to take a house plant from the sunroom and we're going to kind of I wouldn't even say up pot it. We're just gonna transfer it to a different pot. This is the pot that it came in. As you can see, it's doing really, really good. And this is a succulent. So I'm just gonna put it in this right here and up pot it, so to speak. It is a little slightly bigger pot. And y'all let me know on succulents, do they grow big? Every succulent I think I've seen have been like small and contained. Is that how they grow? That's the reason why I'm not putting it in a bigger pot. I'm just putting it in this one. This is more for decoration purposes in my sunroom. But let me know, because if I need to put it in a bigger pot, I can. But for today, we're just going to transfer it to this pot right here. Okay, that was relatively easy. But this is a prettier pot for the sunroom. So we're going to keep that like this. And y'all let me know if succulents grow bigger or do they just kind of stay contained. Let me know. The directions didn't say anything about putting it in a bigger pot, so I just think that's prettier. So we're gonna we got this done for the sunroom. Next, I want to show you some of my seedlings that I've brought out to the tunnel, and then of course we're gonna start more seeds today. So let me show you the seedlings that came from my house and show you how those are doing. Okay, so these are seedlings from inside the house. I started these probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago. This is a mixture of greens, bok choy, cauliflower, lettuce, and broccoli. So I'm sorry, no greens in this batch. So you can see they look fairly good. I'm going to keep them out in the tunnel now instead of keeping them in the house, since the temperature is nice this week, and that'll just give me space in the house with the grow lights. And then these here are the ones, some more that I did around the same time. These are where the collards, that is celery. You can see that there. That's the celery, broccoli. But overall, what I wanted to show you, that these plants are really, really, really leggy. Very, very leggy. And let's talk about that. So, and I'll kind of tell you how this happened. Like you can see there, leggy. So I think I'm going to repot some of these and also, of course, do some more. There's some eucalyptus there that did okay. And then I have some rosemary here. It's my first time growing rosemary from seed. You can kind of see that. Okay, so let's talk about why these seedlings are leggy. And y'all, it's such a disappointment. But let me show you a little bit more up close. And what I mean by leggy is almost they have long legs, right? And you want your seedlings to be closer to the top of the soil. They shouldn't be like this. So this is a sign that they were reaching for light. That's how they get long and stringy like that, right? And I haven't had this in the past as much, so it still looks decent, but I don't know if it's going to be strong enough to withstand to even put in the ground right now. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to actually take this out of this pot and I'm going to repot it and push and do it deeper to where I'll probably get rid of these two and then keep the ones closest to the soil and repot it and see what happens from there. But this happens when you are growing indoors and you don't put it to enough light where the light is right above it. So when you have your grow lights, and mine, of course, you can lower and raise them. I depend on my husband for a lot of stuff because he's just good at that kind of stuff. That's like not my sweet spot, right? Just let me grow the food, but all the mechanics of it, I let him handle all that. But anyway, I did not have my grow light lower enough, and that's why they got leggy. So when you take them from the humidity dome, let me back up. I did a video last week about how to start seeds 101. And so in that video, I tell you that if you're starting seeds indoors, put them indoors, put them on a heat mat and a humidity dome to let them germinate. Once the seeds germinate, you take it off heat, you take away the humidity dome, and then you put them under grow lights. But when you put them under grow lights, the grow light needs to be about an inch above the seedling. And mine were up here because I hadn't taken the time to move them closer, because they were there from the last time that I grew. And then as the plant continues to grow, then you continue to raise the light, the grow light. That didn't happen with these. That is why it is leggy, right? So I know exactly what happened, but it's still disheartening, of course, because you spend all this time and energy. But I'm going to try to repot these and get them like closer to the soil, and we're going to see what happens before I throw them away. But in the meantime, I am going to start some more seeds as well. I think they are going to be salvageable, at least like this one right here. That's fine, it's not leggy, right? But like this one here, this broccoli, you see that? That's not supposed to be. So we're going to see if we can fix it and go from there. Hey, it's better than throwing them away. And then if it doesn't work, then of course we'll compost it, and then we'll just start over as well. But that's the reason, if you have leggy seedlings, that is the reason why. It's because they're searching, they're reaching for the light, and the light is not close enough to them. So that's the trick about when you're growing indoors. You got to keep that light right above the seedlings and keep raising it as it goes, as the plant grows. So let's let me think. Do we want to go ahead and repot these first or start new seeds? I think I want, from a sense of accomplishment, I think I want to start new seeds first, the ones I'm supposed to start this week. And then that'll give me a sense of accomplishment, and then I can always redo these because they're already established. I think that's what I'll do. And for me, you may be the same way. Sometimes you have so much to do when it comes to gardening, and you have a defined time frame, that if you can knock out the things that's most important, or that's going to make you feel a sense of accomplishment, then do that first. And in that way, you won't count the whole day as a wash. Does that make sense? Well, I hope it does, but that's what we're going to do. So let's start seeds. And I'm starting seeds today that I actually started last week. And the reason why I'm starting them over is, again, my seeds did not do well last week. And so let's talk about that a little bit, because I should have brought that up. So the seeds that you and I planted together last week, remember I covered with that vermiculite, and I was telling you guys I saw that at that farm workshop. Well, y'all, I didn't like it. I did not like it at all. And I went back like through my notes and was going back through videos, and I think the vermiculite that I have is more of a medium texture versus fine. And I think the fine would have worked better. But the medium, like the chunks were just too big. My stuff did not germinate as well, I think because it was covering it too much. And overall, I just didn't like the way the vermiculite looked. Like, I just didn't like it at all. The pieces were too big. So I'm scrapping that. I'm still going to look for me some more fine vermiculite that's like really, really fine and it's not as big. So I'm not doing away with vermiculite, but for today, I'm going to restart those seeds over and rethink the strategy behind that. And we're just going to do a redo. We're just going to do a redo. Okay. So let's go over to the other seed starting table and let's get busy. Okay. So for this first redo, I'm switching up things all together. Instead of me doing my 2.5 inch pots first, I'm actually going to do soil blocks. And I've done a video before on how to do soil blocking. And again, I'm doing this simply for the amount of space that it's going to save me. I'm just thinking about how many seeds I'm going to have to start in the next few weeks, and wherever I can cut space, the better. So let me show you. Basically, I just filled up one of my 10-20 trays with some potting soil. I wet it so that it's kind of like the consistency of like almost, I guess, Play-Doh. And then you just rub your thing around in it, and then you just release. Let me show you. So you can see here the blocks, and it makes a little hole where you can put the seed and stuff. So I think that's what I'm gonna do, and go that route and do some seeds that way. That way I can get more in the tray, and we'll be good to go. So I'm gonna keep doing this, and then we'll walk through what we're gonna plant in these soil blocks, and then we'll keep going from there. Now, some people don't like soil block because they think it takes longer. Again, it really just kind of depends on what you're trying to accomplish. Again, I like the fact that I have variety in how I can start my stuff. I have the plug trays, which I showed you last week. I have the 2.5-inch pots, and I also have the soil blocking. This, again, may take a little bit longer. I don't think it does, but it's going to save me space, which right now is very important. Now, the thing with the soil blocks that you have to remember is they're going to dry out much quicker, okay? So you're going to have to keep an eye on them to make sure that they are watered and watered, you know, well. I have this in a 1020 tray that has holes at the bottom. So I'm going to put it on top of a 1020 tray that doesn't have holes, and I'm going to bottom water it. That's how I'm going to do it, and see if that works. Well, I know it'll work. That's the way I'm going to keep it watered. And then also I have like a spray bottle inside the house on my seed starting station that we can do as well. Okay, that one, we'll redo that. The thing about soil blocking is that you can literally take this from the soil blocks and then take it out and transplant it. So there's no transplant shock. And then you can also take these and up pot them into bigger soil blocks, or you can still go ahead and put them in 2.5-inch pots if you want to. So my goal, or I should say my dream, is that now that I'm into starting my own seeds, is to have a seed starting propagation tunnel. How that's going to happen, I don't know. But that's my dream. That's my goal. At some point, I wish I could get one. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. It's nothing like putting it out there, right? It's nothing like putting it out there. So already we have like 20 soil blocks. So I'm just going to keep doing this, and then I'll show you the end product for when I get done. Okay, so I have all the soil blocks done. And let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 times 6. What is that? 78. So we have at least about 78 blocks. So again, huge space saver, because again, if I was doing this with my 2.5-inch pots, I could only get 32 on this tray. So again, I'm simply doing this for space reasons. If soil blocking is not your thing, no big deal. But let me show you. You can see I have it all here. Let me see if I can give you. Okay, it may be hard to see because the sun just kind of beamed right there. But I'm going to get started in the seeding. So I'm going to do 3 rows of collard, 3 rows of broccoli, 3 rows of cabbage, 2 rows of spinach, and 3 rows of lettuce. I'm just going to start seeding, and this tray will be done. So we're going to start with the collards. Y'all know I've been trying to get me some collards for a minute. So we're going to start with the vates. Let's see. The germination rate on this is 98%. It's on the back of the seed. This is from Haas Tools. So I'm just going to put 1 in each one, unless 2 pop out, which that one just did. That's okay. Not going to be too particular about it. But when the germination rate is high, then that lets you know you can probably get away with, 1 seed or so. So if you didn't see my video that I posted last week about me going to that farm workshop and using that drop seeder is nice. It may be in my future, future. Not anytime soon, because I'm not doing it at that level. And then the other thing is that with using the drop seeder, in that video I showed you, it was a P200 tray, and the drop seeder fit that particular tray. There are different drop seeders depending on what configuration you're doing. And that does make sense. It makes just saves you a lot of time and energy and effort. So I definitely like the idea of having a drop seeder in my future for sure. Okay, so we did the collard greens. That's already done. That we just did. Now let's pop the broccoli in here. I'm still yet to harvest any broccoli. My last broccoli that survived the frost ended up getting a fungus on it before I picked it. So, we're going to try it yet again. And the one thing I do like about these soil blocks is that it makes a little divot or hole. You can kind of see there on the inside. So you can just drop the seed right in, and then we'll just cover it lightly with soil and then just mist it with some water. Y'all, I just did the wrong thing. See, I was running my mouth and talking. Okay, well that's going to be broccoli too. We'll just move that over. Not a problem. So instead of us having 3 rows of broccoli, we have... Oh no, that was right. That was right. Okay, I didn't mess up. So yeah. Yep, I got them all in there. Okay, so that's the broccoli. And this is an early green broccoli. It has a maturity date of 60 days. So that'll put us right at the beginning of April. That should be before all the bugs and insects and all that stuff. So let's do our cabbage next. This is a golden acre cabbage. And the maturity date on this is 70 to 80. So that still puts us in that April time frame, which is just fine. Again, I told you I wasn't going to do any more cabbages in the spring because last year they just got eaten by bugs. I don't remember when I started them and when they were supposed to be ready. But I said I wasn't going to do it again. But as you can see, I'm trying it yet again. The seeding to me goes quicker with the soil blocks. I think because that hole is already there, and so I can just drop them in. Versus, I don't know. It just to me seems quicker. Okay, next is spinach. And we are going to do... Let's see what kind we want to do. I think we're going to do this Leviwa. It has a maturity date of 28 to 45 days. So that's relatively quick. So we're going to try that. These seeds are much bigger. So again, the bigger the seed, the easier it is. And I don't know if this one gives me the germination rate on it or not. That's okay. That is a-okay. And spinach seeds can take a while to germinate. They're not usually the 10, 20. Excuse me. They're not usually the 2 to 4 day germination. They usually take a bit longer to germinate. Let's see what it says on here. 5 to 10 days is what it says, and it usually does take that long. So don't get discouraged if you're doing spinach. And then next we have lettuce. Let's see what kind of lettuce we want to do. I've been missing having lettuce in my garden since all the frost had destroyed it that time. I've been missing having the lettuce in my garden. And I had to buy lettuce from the store last week. That was not pleasant. Not pleasant at all. So I think I want to do some romaine. Even with all the fancy lettuces, romaine still is one of my top lettuces that I like. It just feels hearty to me. I don't know why. But it's still one of my favorite lettuces, even though there's so many other different kinds as well. And I'm going to be doing some new lettuces this spring and summer. So I'll take you along with that. But for now, I haven't gotten those in yet. So for now, it'll be romaine for today. Just like that. We are done. Okay, so now I'm just going to take this extra soil that was left in this 1020 tray and lightly cover some of these, or all of these I should say, and then we're just going to mist it with water. So I'm just lightly going over it, covering the seed. We're going to mist it with water, and then we're going to take it in the house, put it on a heat mat, let it germinate, and then put it under some lights, or either bring it out here to the tunnel if the weather is still nice. We're supposed to have good weather for the rest of the week. It's supposed to be like early 60s and low 60s, 60 to like 64. So that's very nice. So in the tunnel it'll be perfect. So we'll see how long that lasts, because I don't like putting a lot of stuff down here and then having to come in at night and bring it back to the house if it gets too cold. But for the next 4 or 5 days, it's supposed to be pretty good. And like the ones that I brought out here that I showed you earlier, those are more established, and those are all cold weather or cool weather crops: broccoli, cauliflower, lettuces. So they should make it just fine. But I wouldn't want to put new seedlings out here. Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that. So we'll keep them in the house until they're good to go. Okay, I think we're done. So with that, so let me just get the water, and then we'll just mist these, and we'll be done with this tray. You don't want to have it too high so that it doesn't wash away the seed. Okay, just like that. That is done. My shallow 1020 tray is in the house that I need. So for now, I'm going to just pop this in here, because remember, I'm going to bottom water it. And then these are done and ready for the house. So now let's deal with the leggy plants. And again, I've never done this before, so this is an experiment. And those of you who are watching may say, girl, that's not going to work. Or you may be saying, oh yeah, Barbara, you're right on. That's exactly going to work. I don't know. We'll see. Right? Because by the time you see this, it will be done. So I'm going to take these leggy plants and redo them. So let me grab some clean pots. And let's just try it and see. So let's just start with the broccoli and go down. So you see how leggy that is? You can see that it's fallen over. So my idea is just to so on some I'm going to take off the long one, like I just snipped that long one, you can see there, and then just bury this deeper. Y'all know I will experiment in a minute, because it doesn't hurt you anything to experiment, and especially during this time of the year when we're not in the heavy throes of the summer and stuff. Why not experiment and just see if it works? So that way you know the next time, because some mistakes can be reversed. So you see what I did there? Now it's closer to the soil. It's not leggy anymore. I put some new soil around it, and we're going to see if it works. We're going to see. I mean, it's obviously still alive. So okay, so we're just going to keep going. And was that parsley? Maybe that was parsley. That was the thing that was in there. Okay, maybe this is the broccoli. Maybe that was parsley. Like, look at this, y'all. It's not strong at all. So, again, I'm just going to take it out. And we're going to see. If you have any other tips and suggestions, let me know. When I tell y'all I was disappointed about my stuff, like I was really disappointed that my seeds didn't germinate well last week. I was really disappointed that my seeds didn't germinate as well last week, especially since I did a video telling y'all how to start seeds. And my seeds, it wasn't the first time of me starting seeds, but those particular ones did not germinate well. And I told my husband, I was like, what is going on? Can I still grow food? Like, what is going on? My plants are leggy. My stuff's not germinating. I was kind of down for a few minutes. I'm not gonna lie. I was kind of down. And then I remembered all the amazing food that I grew last summer. That wasn't by happenstance. Now, it was definitely the Lord's grace and the Lord teaching me. But I'm like, if I did it then, I can do it now. That's still a little bit leggy for me. I'm gonna see if I can go a little bit deeper. Without completely destroying the plant. But at this point, if it works, great. If it doesn't, it wasn't working anyway, right? So there you have it. Okay, I like that better. You see how I just went, it's not leggy like it was anymore. It's right at the soil level. Okay, I like that better. Look at that, y'all. Do y'all see that? It's okay. We're gonna try it today, fixing it. So yeah, like back to my story, like I was kind of discouraged and just walking through my house. And of course, when you're growing seeds indoors, you can see them all the time. I'm walking by, I'm looking at my stuff. I'm like, man, that look a mess. Why is stuff not germinating? And why my stuff looking leggy? And then somebody came over to my house and said, what's wrong with your plants? Y'all, why they say that? It just hurt my little feelings. I was like, yeah, that didn't go so well. But I had a couple of choices, right? I could have stayed wallowing in my disappointment and my discouragement. And I could have said, I'm not growing food no more. I could have said, let me just go buy all these transplants. Or I could say, let me try again. Just because you grew food and you grew food well doesn't make you a perfect gardener. Doesn't mean the stuff is not going to fail sometimes. And so I share my journey with you, the good, the bad, and the ugly, because I want you to know that every time I put my hands in soil, and every time, like that's still too leggy. Every time I do it, yikes. Every time I do it, it doesn't work out, right? It does not work out. Here's an example. I got many examples. Here's an example for today. This right here is celery. And you may say, man, that looks a little wimpy. It looks a little leggy. The beauty of it is that it germinated, because this is my third time trying celery. And I need to get me, I shouldn't say real celery. This is pink celery. I need to get me the Utah tall celery. I've heard that that's a good one. That's what I've seen on other people's channels. I haven't bought any because, again, I don't use celery a lot. But I would like to maybe freeze dry, dehydrate some and make some celery salt. That would be good. And just have it on hand. But again, I like to try stuff just to see if I can grow it, even if I don't eat a ton of it. I do eat celery. Well, I use celery. I don't eat celery just by itself. But this is the, it at least germinated, right? It looks a little leggy, but it germinated. That is progress from my other 2 times, right? And so I say all that to say is that it's not always going to be a sunshiny day in the garden in terms of your results. It's not always going to be perfect. It's not always you're going to get it right the first time. But you have to decide, are you a gardener? Because a gardener is just going to keep trying again and growing food. Because, y'all, what's the alternative? What is the alternative? Like I said, for me, I like that better, okay? So I'm just trying to get it deep in here. And we're going to see if it'll reestablish some new roots and keep going. So we're just going to keep doing this while we're chatting. What's the alternative? Buy your own food? I mean, we already doing that. And we know how that's going. It's in our pockets. It's high. And the food half the time tastes horrible. Y'all know it. So, am I going to give up? No, I'm not. I had a little pity party. I'm not going to lie. I sure did. Because I'm like, I should be able to germinate my seeds. Like, what's going on? Right? What is really going on? But, what am I out here doing? I'm out here trying to fix my leggy plants. And the ones that didn't germinate, I just restarted again. And we're going to hope and pray for the best. That's what we're going to do. We're not going to give up. We're not going to go buy 1,000 plant starts. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But it's more cost effective for me not to buy plant starts, right? Now, if I have to, I will. But that's not the first thing. So look, all that broccoli is redone. That looks so much better. So much better. I probably could have... Okay, that looks better. Now let's do our collards. So what's the alternative? I say all that to say, y'all, we got to keep growing food. We got to keep trying. You got to be encouraged. If at first you don't succeed, try again. And that's what I'm doing. And I could not tell you. I could act like my stuff germinated last week and it was beautiful. I could act like I don't have leggy plants. But that's not the way to go, right? That's not real life. That's not my real life. And that's not my real journey as a gardener. And I don't do this to show you how glamorous gardening is. I do this because I want to show and teach you that you can do it. That's why I do it, right? And I want to encourage somebody. And I think it's good to know that sometimes you're going to fail. Sometimes you're not going to get the results. Sometimes it's within your control, like me seeding and using vermiculite. That was kind of in my control. They didn't germinate. I didn't do something right. Them getting leggy, I didn't put them close enough to the light. So that was kind of within my control. But there's other things that happen outside of our control, like the weather. We can't control the weather. We can get too much rain, not enough rain. We can't control animals eating our stuff. So there's things that's going to happen on this gardening journey that you can control and that you can't control that lead to failure or lead to not the best results. Let me say that. And because there's no failure, there's always lessons. But I want to encourage you to keep going. Don't give up. We don't have another alternative, y'all. Not a good one. Okay, so that's my collards. Okay, that's still a little bit too late. You see how I'm just redoing this until I get it the way I want it? Because I got time to play today in terms of, y'all know when the summer season hits, y'all know it is, you got to have your skates on. You got to have your skates on. But because it's February, it's low-key Sunday that I'm out here doing this, then I got time to try and get it right. And because it's my little experiment, we're going to see what happens. Now, Mr. Leggy is now pretty much right above the soil line. Okay? He's still a little leggy. He's still a little wobbly. But let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Let me know if any of y'all have ever done this before. And again, I'm just using my common sense, but my common sense may be wrong. I mean, I know what they're supposed to look like in terms of close to the soil line and not leggy. I know that. So I'm like, well, let me see if I can manufacture it just by burying them deeper in the soil. In my mind, it should work. In reality, we're going to see. We are going to see. Okay, better. So hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing. Okay, so I just want to say thank you guys for joining with me today. I'm going to finish doing this and redo all of these and keep them and water them and then keep them out in the tunnel for the next few days while it's pretty, so they can get I don't have to worry about putting them under the grow lights and all of that. They can get some wind and some air and all that good stuff, and we'll see how they do, and I'll bring you back in and we'll check on them, and then I'll show you what happens. Okay, but thank you guys so much for joining me today. I just want to encourage you that all of the gardening journey is not success. All of the gardening journey is not sunny days. It's not sunshine. But if you keep going, you're going to be much better off than if you stop. Okay, so today we are fixing some of our leggy plants, and we reseeded the stuff from last week. So we're not even a week off. Again, I gave myself some playtime in my little seeding schedule, so we're still good, and you're still good too. Okay, remember, this is all a journey. Let's grow together. I'll see you next time, friend.